Welcome to We Wine Whenever. I'm Wendy.
I'm Kelly.
We are talking about Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 18, Episode 15. It is called The Double Decker Drama. Yes,
I get
exactly.
We get it.
We start out the next day in London, and Emily and Shannon are at breakfast, and Emily is talking about how Emily and Shannon are talking about how they wanted the trip to be a fun time, and that's not really what had happened at that point, thanks to Tamra. Then Tamra and Katie go down to the spa, and they're lying on these like stone chairs, which were kind of cool, but then Tamra said that she had a chair just like that, and it was her sex chair, which, okay, thanks, Tamra.
Nobody wants that visual, Tamra.
No, we don't. Tamra says Shannon lives way beyond her means. She's telling that to Katie, which you don't know what her means are. Like, how dare you? How dare you?
Again, like they're so hyper-focused on people's finances. Like, don't worry about it. Worry about your own finances.
Yep. And then Tamra says that she had to step away from Shannon because of, the way she's acting and, her superpower is making people feel sorry for her. And Katie's like, well, I do feel sorry for her. I don't think that's her superpower. That's not her superpower.
No, that's not her superpower.
They feel sorry for her because she's trying, and people like Tamra and Alexis are trying to push her down and keep her down.
Right.
And nobody needs that. That's why they feel sorry for her. Not because she's helpless, because she's not helpless. She's a strong woman. She's been through a lot, and she's trying to push forward.
Right.
She
doesn't have that victim personality.
No, she doesn't. And that's what Tamra has. And that's what Tamra kept saying to her. And that's a trigger for Shannon. And I don't blame her.
I don't blame her either.
It would be a trigger for me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then, it's kind of, I went back and forth with these notes. So the Dolce & Gabbana dress. So Heather whispers to Tamra that she saw the same dress that Jen wore to the tea party at Neiman Marcus, and it was $2,000. So she shared that information with Tamra. So Tamra shares that information with Katie. At the same time, Jen and Gina are talking, because then Jen has this information as well and lets Gina know. Gina
lets Jen know.
That's what I meant. Gina lets Jen. Exactly.
Yes.
Gina lets Jen know. And, Katie's response was, listen, I knew she bought that dress. I talked to her that day. She went shopping and she called up Brian and said, it's a lot of money. He's like, well, you can wear it for your nephew's wedding. You can wear it for this. Buy the dress.
Right.
So she bought the dress.
Right. And she doesn't even have to explain herself, for crying out loud.
No.
She's not asking you for the money, Heather. So what do you care? And why are you're that petty?
Right.
You have all that money and you're that petty that you see the dress and you immediately call Tamra. You're just as bad as Tamra.
I agree. And then Katie and her, they say that they are worried. Katie and Tamra both say that they're worried about Jen because, they're concerns with Ryan and the FBI, and they want to make sure she has a plan B, which is bullshit. They don't give a shit about. I mean, I think Katie does. I do.
Yeah, Tamra doesn't care.
No, Tamra does not care. Jen and Gina, they're doing this spa thing with their feet in the pool. I don't know. I guess this was in their hotel. I don't know.
Yeah. It looked very nice. That pool area looked very nice.
It did look nice. And then Gina says to her about knowing that Tamra knows that Shannon is telling the truth. So because that night before, Shannon showed Gina the text message that she found in her text messages from Alexis about the lawsuit from
2017, 18,
whatever year it was. I don't remember. But from whatever year, I think it was 2018. She sent it to Tamra. And Tamra could have, at the table, validated what she was saying, but she didn't. And it's like, what is going on? Like, why is she like this?
Yeah.
And it's true. Why is she so involved in Shannon's life and in Jen's life? Worry about your own.
I really think Tamra thinks that she's being a good housewife by doing all of these things. And now we see what happened. She's just gotten so messy and so dirty that the fans are now fed up and done with it. And now she, we see what she did this week.
Yes.
With her diagnosis.
Now she's on the spectrum.
She's on the spectrum. And then she just issued another apology, or I guess she was on 2Ts now, saying that, she spoke too soon. She shouldn't have repeated. She only talked about it for 15 minutes, but it was a 2-hour therapy session and, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
No, you shouldn't have said it, Tamra. You are 100% right. And quite honestly, and I feel bad because I do like Teddy on the podcast. We've talked about this. I like Teddy when she has Erica Jane on it. I love Teddy and Emily together. I don't listen as often when she has Tamra on because I just don't like Tamra, but I think that this is probably going to affect the podcast now because we know how these fans roll. I mean, we see when they decide they don't like a housewife, it can really affect their businesses.
It definitely can affect their businesses. I listened to Heather McDonald talking about it today, and
She's hysterical.
Did you hear her?
I didn't hear her, but I did see her post where she was saying that,
yeah,
she's on the asshole. What'd she say? She's an asshole. That's what she said.
Yeah. So on the podcast, she was saying, she was kind of, I don't remember who she was talking to. She was telling somebody about it, but she was recapping it. And she's like, Teddy, she was on Beverly Hills, but she's not an actress and she can't act. Like, that was so staged.
It was so bad. It was so bad.
And she's now, you know what? Now Teddy is complicit with this whole thing.
I know.
She couldn't, or a producer couldn't say to them, don't do it.
Isn't a good idea.
Don't do it. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it was not good. It did not, it didn't, I don't think it panned out the way she thought it would.
No, it didn't. It did not. And honestly, I really think in this whole situation, I think Heather was very shady and very messy because Heather's the one who started the whole thing with the dress, at least. Yeah. I mean, she's the one who told Tamra.
That's your immediate, you weren't even on camera and you did that. That speaks volumes about your character. You weren't even on camera. So where I think everything Tamra does is for the show because she wants to be a good housewife. She thinks that's what's making her a good housewife. Heather's just petty now. She wasn't even on camera and she did it. That's petty shit.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, when Jen had that, I think at that moment, she had that realization when she was sitting there talking to Gina.
Yeah.
But then it was just solidified later on when Shannon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Heather goes over to Shannon and Emily, and Heather said, I know you're upset the way things left last night. I just wanted to talk. And Shannon said, I'm blown away by what you said to me because I spoke to you in confidence. I was not lying. What I said on the podcast really isn't relevant because what I confided in you is what I confided in you. And I did ask you to keep it between us.
Yeah, and I got to be honest with you. I can't stand how Heather comes in a room. It's like she doesn't give anybody a chance to say or do anything. She just walks right in and that's what she says. Like, I don't like how last night turned out.
Right.
Like, she's like a bulldozer.
She is. I mean, she's very direct. Like you said, it's not like she sits down and says, hi, Shannon, I know it was a rough night for you. How are you doing? None of that. Like
it's not even like commanding a room. Like, we all know women like that. Like when they walk in a room, it's not like that. It's like a takeover. It's like a takeover.
I think it's that she has her lines and she wants to go deliver them.
You're right. That's what it is.
I think that's
because she prepares. Because she's not good. We talked about this last week. She's not quick on her feet at all. So she has to prepare.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. How about how Shannon brought out her notes of.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny.
I knew exactly what they were laughing at when they started laughing. And then Emily's like, don't you know about Excel?
She's like, well, I know it's on the computer, but I don't know how to input stuff into it. Oh my God, it was so funny. I mean, they were like crumpled pieces of paper and scratches. Like, I was like, oh my God. I really thought when she said, I'm going to go get it, I did not expect her to be getting receipts of how much money she spent. I expected her to be getting the text message.
Right.
That's what I expected her to get.
Or like a screenshot of an Excel, like,
something
like a spreadsheet.
Right.
Something, yeah.
Not that.
Oh
That
my
was so
God.
funny.
That was funny.
Then they all meet in the lobby, and Shannon says the Duchess of Corona del Mar will wear purple, and the ladies in waiting will wear red. And she gives them all crowns, and then they're going to go ride the double-decker bus because she has this all planned, and she's not
Yeah.
going to. And I don't blame her.
Yeah.
I don't blame her. A couple of them gave back the crown. I don't remember which ones, but they're like, I'm not wearing this. Whatever.
Right.
And then when they're on the bus, on the double-decker bus, Gina says, last night I went to bed and this whole mammogram thing, I just don't get it. And Heather was annoyed. She's like, what is it you don't get? And she's like, well, I feel horrible about it. And then Shannon chimes in, like, we all really feel horrible about it. We thought that, you were all good.
And they show a text message, basically her saying she doesn't want to talk about it on camera.
Right. Right. Which we didn't know until then. We did not know that until then.
And then that makes much more sense.
Right. Right.
Heather seems like a very high maintenance friend. And I don't mean like high maintenance where like you didn't call me, you can handle friends like that. She's high maintenance because you don't know what she's expecting of you as a friend, where quite honestly, there shouldn't be any expectations. But she must clearly have high expectations, but you don't know what they are, so you can't anticipate them. So it's like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yes, and that's exactly what Gina was saying. She's like, I don't know what you expect from me as a friend.
Right.
And then Heather jumps back onto, well, I don't expect you to, bring on a friend and, have her tell me. And Katie's sitting, she was like, that's me. And
yeah,
again,
we're back to the paparazzi thing.
Right. We're bringing it back up again. No, she didn't say you don't. She said, what do you expect from me? Not what you don't expect from me. Once again, you can't just answer the question. And I don't like that. I really don't like that.
No. And then when Gina brought up the Watch What Happens Live thing, Heather's making it like, oh my God, why'd you wait this long to bring this up? Well, but you're doing the same thing.
Exactly.
You're doing the same thing. And that's probably why Gina brought it up.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And by the way, Gina was on Watch What Happens Live last night.
I didn't get to watch it. Was it good?
It was good. I did watch it. I'll talk about it a little bit at the end. It was good.
Okay.
And Andy did bring up that question. And he said, Andy being Andy, he said, really, it's the Shady Whale's fault.
Who are your producers, Andy Cohen?
Right. Exactly.
Who you employ.
Right. And Gina,
so really, it's your fault.
Yeah. Gina just laughed and, because she's gracious like
What's she going to do?
Exactly. Exactly.
It's your boss. You're sitting in front of your boss, and he's manufacturing and manipulating and orchestrating the whole thing. So what are you going to do?
Right. Exactly. So then the ladies get off the double-decker bus, and some of the ladies go and get street food. Katie, Heather, and Tamra go shopping, and they go looking at chocolates. They want to know what the queen's favorite chocolates were, and then they go jewelry. They look at jewelry shopping. And Gina, Emily, Shannon, and Jen, they're doing the street food. And then Shannon's like, let's do an old-time photo, which I loved. I loved that they did that.
That was cute.
I love that they did that. I like when they do silly things like that because honestly,
me too.
I think it's cute. I think it's appropriate for where they're at. And I think it's like a memory that they'll have forever. You know what I mean?
And I like that Jen stepped in and was like, I'll be the king.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And she was like very conscious of everyone's outfit and, who would wear what, which, I think that's nice.
Yes.
And Gina in her confessional says Heather is a control freak. And she is a control freak. And I'll be honest with you, this is the first time I've ever really seen Gina this much stand up or talk about Heather in a negative way, whether it be to her face or in a confessional. I've never seen her do it like this before.
I think that, well, first of all, let me just say this because I have this written down. Gina's confessional look with that orange dress was so good. She looked so good. Because I know she gets a lot of heat for her confessional looks sometimes.
Well, that one particular one, she got a lot of heat for.
Yeah, but this one was so good. I was so happy to see it. She looked great.
Yeah.
But I think that right now what's going on, Heather and Tamra are clearly BFFs.
Yep.
And they're just going to back each other. So the other girls are probably like, fuck it. We don't know who the next target is. They keep coming for Shannon. I mean, Tamra's been coming for Jen for 2 seasons, and now Heather seems to be hopping on board.
Yeah, and
So
why?
I
Like,
think
what's the point?
Exactly. And I worry about Emily, because I don't worry about her because she's a tough girl and she'll see it, but she gets very close with Tamra.
Think she's like, I think you said this a couple episodes ago. She knows who Tamra is, and you keep your enemies close.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
that's what it is. I do.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I agree.
And then the ladies get all dressed up and they go to dinner. They go to a place called Sketch. And Gina does the first toast that, they're going to toast to Shannon, her 60th birthday. Even though we don't all get along all the time, it's nice to be able to sit here around the table and, celebrate and toast Shannon. After that toast, Jen does it. She goes for it. And I was here for it.
For sure.
Jen says to Heather, did you have a problem with the dress that I wore to the tea party? Heather says, no. She said, well, then why did you feel the need to talk about it with Tamra and tell her how much I spent? Heather said, because I was worried about you.
Bullshit.
Exactly. Because you said you were only getting $6,000 a month in child support. And then Tamra jumps in. I don't want her to feel that she has to spend $2,000 on dresses. Jen says, well, that was my problem last year. I was wearing all the fakes. And then they cut to where Tamra was making fun of her for wearing all the fake stuff. Jen says, you walk in here head to toe designer. And she's like, well, I can afford it, Tamra says. And, Emily jumps in and said, well, Ryan bought the dress for you. She said, yes, but that's not anyone's business. And it's right. It's not anyone's business. Like, I know Emily was trying to help, but that isn't because you know why? Because she had been shading her for spending money too.
Well, and she was part of the conversation on that bus.
Yes.
And she never came out and said that she heard them say it.
Right.
Right.
Jen said, this is my point. If there's something that's a thing for you, then call me. And Heather said, I'm sorry. That's my fault. And listen, the fact that she apologized right then and there, I mean, she had to. I don't know how she could not at that point, because Jen called her out, straight out. And there was no place for her to hide. Not even Tamra could help her.
Right.
Because she was going for Tamra next.
Right.
So
then Shannon brings up the we text from Alexis.
The we text, yep.
And Emily had a great point that she brought up, that basically Tamra holds Shannon to the fire for every little thing she does. And now here's this smoking gun. And, and Tamra knew about it.
Yep.
Knew about the Alexis text and said nothing about it. So it was a really good point on Emily's part.
Absolutely. Then Jen actually goes for Tamra at this point. And she said to her, I don't even know where to go with you. And Tamra's like, I thought we were good. And she's like, you always go ballistic on me. She's like, I don't go. When was the last time I went ballistic on you? She's like, at Katie's party. I mean, seriously, is like, does she have that short term of memory? Like, come on.
Yeah. She's got something. It's not what she claims her diagnosis is.
No,
there's
she
something.
Definitely, yeah. And then she apologizes.
It's narcissism, because she can't admit she's wrong. It's narcissism.
It's definitely narcissism. And then she apologizes, and she said she shouldn't have brought up the thing about the FBI either.
Yeah, like, you shouldn't have. But this morning you were talking to Katie about it again on those chairs.
Yep.
You went into even more detail about it. I mean, honestly, she's the most ignorant of them all, because you're on camera talking about this, and now there's litigation. She's really stupid.
And then Shannon does say to Tamra, like, you seem to want to point out everything I do wrong. So please stop talking about me. Just stop talking about me. Tamra said, well, then stop talking about me. I mean, what kind of response is that?
It's childish.
It's like she wasn't talking about you.
It's like playground talk. Right. She doesn't talk about you.
And then she keeps sticking her hand in her face.
Oh, my gosh. Well, that's because she can't. Wait, that was to Shannon.
Yes, to Shannon.
Yeah. This was between Shannon and Tamra.
She keeps sticking her hand in her face. And Shannon said, just shut up. She's like, I'm done with you. Tamra says, then leave. She says, no, this is my trip. And then she's like, you can leave. But then she gets up and everyone's like, well, you don't leave. And she's like, no, I'm going to the bathroom. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just sitting there putting her hand in her face.
Because she can't because she can't.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it. She's not quick enough. She's not witty enough to have this conversation. So that's her that's all she's very childish and immature. That's why she's doing it.
Yeah. I mean, that was a little bit much. And then afterwards they're all at the bar and Emily says, let's play a game. Let's all text our husbands or significant others the same thing. Naked right now.
How quick can you get here?
Yeah, and let's see what their responses are. Jen says, I'm going to get a dick pic in 2 seconds, which I thought was hysterical.
That was so funny. Travis's was the best.
Yeah, Ryan says
15 seconds, and I'll probably finish in the same time.
The same amount of time.
Yeah.
Ryan says, is this for me or is this somebody at the bar? And then Katie's like, my husband didn't even answer.
That was the best.
That was the best.
That was the best.
My husband didn't answer. I don't know where
Did
Heather
Shane
was.
Answer? Heather would not have sent that text
No,
message.
she would not have sent that text message. But she wasn't there. I don't know where she was. I guess he didn't answer because we don't know what Shane's answer was.
I don't think we do.
But she I totally forgot about Gina talking about Travis's balls. Oh my God.
And then she says that's why everybody thinks he has a small penis because his balls are so big. Like, I never heard that if the balls are big, the penis is small.
All right, so now I have to tell you about this. On Watch What Happens Live, it was Donnie Wahlberg and Gina. They, Andy introduces them, and he says, Donnie, I heard you and Travis had a conversation before you came out here, and, why don't you tell him what you said? Donnie said to Travis, you and I have something in common. And Travis is like, what? He goes, we both have big balls.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is Emotional Support Water Bottle. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ailish. We're two besties who don't leave the house without their water bottles.
Every week, we're bringing you conversations about pop culture news, relatable real-life topics, and our random thoughts about the world today.
We cover things like Bravo TV recaps, breaking celebrity scandals, and Hollywood updates, and dig deeper on topics relating to navigating our 30s, dating and relationships, and keeping our work, social lives balanced.
So grab your water bottles and look out for new episodes every Friday.
I'm surprised Donnie didn't say you and my wife have a lot in common. She's got big balls because she does. Figuratively.
It's like, that's so funny. He's like, we bonded over that. Like,
That's
something
hysterical.
we have in common. I was like, oh my gosh. And then Andy did ask her, like, was Travis upset? She's like, no. I mean, no.
What man is going to be upset over that? Nobody. I mean, maybe if somebody's insinuating that his penis is small, but I've never heard that, and I highly doubt it is.
So then Shannon gets up and she says, I'm going to go to bed early because the girls are coming tomorrow. The next morning, while the ladies are all FaceTiming their significant others, Heather and Tamra are talking about what happened last night. Gina said, her and Emily said, like, they can't go to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning anymore. I can't believe they stayed up till 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't think I could stay out that late.
Me neither. I don't think I could ever stay up that late right now.
No.
I would have to sleep until 2 o'clock the next afternoon.
I mean, I think the latest I've stayed up was that time we went to Boogie Nights. And how many years ago was that?
That was late night.
And that was maybe,
That
what,
was
2 o'clock in the
years
morning?
ago?
Or 3 o'clock? Was it 2 or 3?
I think it was more like 2.
That was
that
late.
2 years ago?
I think it was more than that. It was way too long ago. We have to go back.
Yes, that's for sure.
I don't know that we go back to Boogie Nights because honestly, I don't want to go back to the Trop. It's kind of sleazy. My last couple times. Yeah.
I know. I agree. The music's just so damn good there.
I know, but
agree.
we have to find something a little bit more upscale.
Yeah.
Just for, So I don't blame them. I can't stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning either. Then Gina and Shannon go over to Jen's room and Shannon says, this is the pattern that Tamara's had with me for years. And it is. It absolutely is. Then Tamara and Emily, they go for a walk and they get smoothies. And Tamara says, why am I always bowing down to this person?
Is she ever mind?
I know.
Why am I always being the bigger person? You're not.
Right.
You're the one causing all of the problem.
And she doesn't see it at all. And this is where Emily could have pointed it out to her, but she didn't.
No, she did not.
She did.
That's what I mean. She did not.
No. And then Shannon says, I'm tired of Tamra saying I do certain things when she does it. So I went back. So then she goes back. I'm tired of Tamra saying I do these things when she's the one who does them. And then she goes and gets her phone.
Yep.
And she shows her the text message about the background check for Ryan that was 2 years ago that she sent.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, listen, I'm not defending Tamra, but it was 2 years ago. But she did ask for a background check.
Yeah, she
So
absolutely
it really
did.
doesn't matter when it was. You did it.
Right.
Nobody does that.
Right. And Shannon is like, listen, we aren't these kind of people. We don't do these things. Gina's like, no, we are these kind of people. This is what we do.
This is what we do.
Which is sad. And the thing is, you know what?
Doesn't she think Bravo did a background check on this guy? Well,
I'm sure they did.
I don't know. There's other people that's questionable if they did a background check on them. Let's face it.
Listen, I think it makes good TV. I don't think they care.
Good point.
I don't think they care. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard. Like Tamra said, there's Google. You know what I mean? It's not that hard.
But even to get a background check, all you have to do is pay for it.
Yeah.
I know I've never done it, and I would never do it because I have no reason to, but I do know people who have done it.
Listen, I am an investigator, and I have never had to do that, but if there ever came a point in my life that I felt the need to do it, I would do it.
Right.
I would do it. Because I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I would own it.
Right.
I would own it. And then,
Jen,
she's like, she has this weird obsession with me. And she does. She's like, it's like, why doesn't she just boil the bunny in the pot? Or like, this is single white female. And it absolutely was.
And it's like, is it because she's on the show? Is it because Tamra was attracted to Ryan at one point? Not that she would ever do anything, because I really do think that Tamra loves Eddie, and I don't think she would ever do anything to jeopardize that. But I don't know. Is there like a weird jealousy thing here that Jen got Ryan, and at one point Tamra was attracted to him? I mean, she was calling him hot Jim guy.
Right.
It's weird. There's definitely some kind of fixation, though.
There definitely is. And then Jen says she's trash. She's literal fucking trash.
Yeah, those are harsh words.
Yeah. But you know what? They were totally appropriate.
Yeah, I mean,
they were appropriate.
You can't keep poking this girl and poking her and not expect her to poke back.
No, and
this is what cracks me up about the housewives.
Yeah.
You want to keep coming for people and shit about them, whether it's true or not. You're putting these things out about them on television, and then you don't expect them to fight back, stick up for themselves, defend themselves. Come on.
Yeah. So she leaves. The producers follow her. She goes over to Tamra's room. Tamra's getting a blowout, and Heather's there getting her makeup done too. And Jen says, you did a fucking background check on Ryan. Tamra says, no, I swear to God on my kid's life.
Yeah, well, there's that
did
one
not.
again. All these fucking housewives swear on their kids' lives. It's crazy how much they do it.
Jen says, I know you did it. I just saw it. Tamra's like, no, then show it to me. I mean, how can she say that when she knows?
And then she said, I never hired a private investigator.
Right. I never paid for it. She kept saying, I never
said that.
Right. I didn't pay for a background check. I never paid for a background check. And Heather's like, well, let her talk. And she says, no, there's no need. Like, there's no need to let her talk. She has nothing to say. First of all, anything she says, she's lying. And then once again, Tamra doesn't know what to do. So she acts like a child.
Yep.
Exactly. Mean, it was ridiculous. It really was ridiculous. And then in her confessional, Heather says, I didn't even know Jen could speak that loudly. Rather impressive. When you back her in her corner, she doesn't even know what to do. She's just like a feral cat.
That's what Jen said about Tamra.
That's what Jen said about Tamra.
Yep.
And then Tamra kept saying, I didn't pay for a background check. I didn't pay for a background check. Nobody said you paid for one.
Right.
You sent a text message to a friend looking for a background check.
Right.
And then you got the information and you shared it with Shannon.
Right. Yeah.
She was your buddy at the time.
And then Tamra says in her confessional something about someone with half a brain talking about Jen.
Right.
Like, Jen, she buried you. She ate you up in that conversation. She's the number one girl in the group, by the way, Jen. For sure.
I mean, I was so glad to see her do that.
Me too.
I am
Me
so
too. It had to be done.
I'm so looking forward to this reunion. I really am. Gina said that after the reunion, she felt good. She left the reunion and she felt good.
That gives me hope that hopefully somebody put Tamra in their place while they were there.
Actually, I hope so. But Andy even said that pretty much everything was calm except for Alexis. Alexis was the only one that...
Well, I mean, my goodness gracious. We saw how she acted when Katie and Jen were in her living room. I couldn't believe that.
It's craziness.
Because, listen, I'm not over dramatic. I'm a very
Animated.
expressive person. Yeah. Like, especially when I get upset where I'm like, throwing my hands around and stuff. I felt like that conversation didn't warrant that kind of reaction.
No, I agree.
How could you have thought that you were going to be invited on Shannon's birthday trip? What person in their right mind? The lawsuit aside, you're dating her ex-boyfriend.
Right.
You're not coming on my trip if you're dating my ex-boyfriend.
Right.
We're not friends. We're not related. And you're dating my ex-boyfriend. You are not coming on my trip.
Right.
Then you throw the lawsuit in there. It's like, are you out of your mind?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
I don't know.
I am looking forward to the reunion, though, because I think that, like you said, I mean, too bad the autism thing didn't come out before the reunion. Something must have happened at the reunion that she came up with that after the reunion.
Or I was thinking she knew this episode was airing this week, and that's why. Because this episode was bad for her. It was bad. I mean, none of them have been good, but this one with the background check and Jen and the Alexis texts and her not saying anything, having that information, like, come on, this was a bad episode.
Yeah, it was. You're right.
She's trying to get in front of it. She's trying to get some sympathy from the viewers, and I don't think it's working very well.
I think she needs to fire her PR team because whoever is advising her to do these stupid things.
Yeah. Somebody should have told her. Listen, even if the therapist said that to her, which we've learned. Listen, I don't have any experience with this at all. But from what I'm reading in comments online, mostly from parents of children who are on the spectrum, this takes a long time to get a diagnosis. And of course, a child's going to take longer to get a diagnosis because it's, you really have to evaluate so many areas in their life. And you have to do that over a certain amount of time to get that diagnosis, of course. But I just don't feel like a 2-hour conversation with a therapist can get you that.
No,
maybe the therapist said there's a possibility, but she went on the podcast and said I was diagnosed with.
Right. And that's the other thing. A therapist cannot do a diagnosis. Only a doctor can.
Right.
So
there's just a lot of holes in her announcement, But people are very upset, and I would imagine if I have any personal experience in it, I would be upset too.
Well, and
that somebody's just throwing that around.
Yes, and that's what a lot of the comments are out there, that those people are outraged,
Yeah.
How dare you? Like, you're just a mean person. Really, she is mean.
100%. And did you see what Eddie said? He will always support the real Tamra, not the Tamra on the show. So basically you're saying that she's
fake.
She's totally fake.
Right.
And think about it. She shares nothing of her life, Tamra. She shares nothing of her personal life. She tried with her daughter this season, but
the other thing that she said, which is really outraging people, is she said that being on the spectrum was brought on by her trauma. That's another thing.
She said that?
Yes. Trauma does not cause you to be on the spectrum.
No.
She said that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
She's really digging herself a big hole.
She really is.
She's taking Teddy down with her, I think.
That's okay. It was nice while it lasted.
We're good. We're good on you. It's such a shame that, hopefully it won't affect the podcast, but for Teddy, Because she's got Emily and...
Well, Emily was on Sheena's today. And I listened to that, and it was actually very good. You should listen to that one.
Okay, I'll try it.
She was talking about Tamra and Shannon and the diagnosis. Like, she was talking about a lot of that. And
she's not buying it, is she?
No, not at all. She was also talking about the Menendez brothers. She's obsessed with it. That's why I said...
That was Melissa Gorga. Did you listen to her podcast?
I did listen to hers. Yes, her
Yeah.
with John Fuda and Rachel.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I loved it. It was so good.
So good.
So I sent you the address for the Menendez brothers' house.
Yes.
Well, because Emily was going to go visit it today when she was done at Sheena's thing. She was going to go drive by, and she announced the address on the podcast. So I looked it up.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh my God, that's so... I'm sure it's public information.
And it's for sale?
No, it just sold in March.
It just sold.
It just sold in March. But it's weird because I was looking at the pictures and it looks just like it did on the Netflix series. But she was saying that there's another... She said she's done a lot of investigating on this. And she would like to do a podcast about it. I was like, I'm going to call up Emily because I would like to have her on our podcast when we talk about it. I'm going to reach out to her. I'm going to reach out to her. But there's another documentary that was just put on Netflix, she said, of them in jail from the actual Menendez brothers. Like, this one wasn't a documentary. It was a Ryan Murphy kind of docu-drama.
Right. Like a reenactment.
Right.
Based on true events.
Right. Her and Sheena were saying, because they both watched it, that while they were watching it, they were like Googling things to like see if it was true. I know you didn't watch it yet, and I told you I watched the whole thing. Well, there is this song in there, this Milli Vanilli song that they play throughout the thing, and it's like it gets stuck in your head. And now whenever you hear this song, like that's all you think about. And she looked it up, Emily did, and they did really play that song. I was like, well, that's
what was
weird.
It Blame It on the Rain?
Yes, that's it. It's just weird. Like, I don't know if you even see, there's some TikToks out there with that song in it. Like, just all of a sudden, I'm just like.
So let me ask you, the documentary or docuseries, is there a lot of, like, do they talk about the sexual abuse a lot? Or is it more, like, I want to know, like, the legal side of it, the trial side of it, what went on there. I have a hard time listening to the other stuff.
Yeah, so it's both. I mean, it is both, but, you know, you get to see it from the attorney's side. You get to see it from, obviously, the Menendez brothers' side. You don't ever see the other side. Right. So they, you know, they do talk about it. They do talk about it. You know, the therapist is a part of it because he's the one who, you know, it's, yeah, no, I mean, listen, it's, I thought it was good. I mean, I definitely thought it was good, but it's a lot. And like I said, it's, you know, it's 9 episodes, which.
Yeah. Hour long?
Yeah, they're about an hour each.
Maybe I can get Eric to watch it with me. I know he's watched other, like, documentaries on the Menendez brothers.
Oh, he has? Oh, then he might watch it with you. See, Bill would not watch anything. He won't watch any crime stuff. He won't watch.
No, Eric loves the crime stuff.
Yeah,
Sometimes it worries me a little bit if I ever go missing. Look at Eric's Netflix history and just see if anything lines up.
Yeah. So she was also talking about the LA Innocence Project that Kim Kardashian is a part of. Emily is a part of the San Diego Innocence Project. They're different chapters. So I don't think, because the Scott and Lacey Peterson, that was the LA Innocence Project. That, remember we talked about the Scott and Lacey?
Yeah.
That's the LA Innocence Project. She talked about that too. She's done a lot of research on that. She doesn't think there's any way that he is innocent, but she wants to see like what happens. Just like we said. Like, I mean, I don't know. I think that he should get a retrial. I still think that. I think we still need to wait and see what happens. But it's the same attorney, Mark Garagos, for Scott and Lacey Peterson, as that's now the Menendez brothers' attorney that's working on this.
Are there any other attorneys in LA?
I know. Well, I mean, Johnny Cochran's dead.
I feel like we keep hearing the same names.
Robert Kardashian is passed. I mean, Leslie Abrams would have been, I guess she's still around, right?
I guess. I don't even know. I don't know. But Lori read the book Blood Brother, which was written by his stepsister, and I'm going to read it next. So at least we'll have that.
That's for the Scott and Lacey Peterson?
Scott Peterson, yeah. And then, and then we'll follow what's going on, and we'll keep up to date, and we'll do another podcast on it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. All right, I think that's good for now.
Yeah.
Until next time, thank you for watching and listening to We Wine Whenever. Bye.
Bye.